I'm going to circle back around to a few of the more consumer-facing slides. So you saw my introduction picture. I've obviously bought into this home workout routine. Sorry, guys, let me pull that backwards. Got a little too click happy. So I ordered a Peloton. Unfortunately, it was assembled incorrectly, and it's a little bit broken, and those guys are a bit busy. So that picture was, I was so excited. I took a picture in one of the 5 rides that I was able to get in, but that picture you saw earlier was before, and this is a potential after picture of me when I've given up hope in January and I'm just going to lift 1 pound weights. So if anyone on here knows anyone in Peloton, if you could give a good word, that would be great. So anyway, here's my top 3. They have a little bit more to do with the consumer experience with home workouts and how it relates a little bit to nutrition, but maybe what we're looking at in the future. I mentioned usage occasions, and I think that they're changing, and I believe that this has a lot to do with the convenience factor and what that now means to consumers. Pre-pandemic, Hartman did a great job at really encapsulating this, so I am basically using what they've put in here, but sort of reframing it around the sports nutrition aspect. If we're talking about formats, if you're not talking about, the protein, the ingredients, the performance, if you're looking just at format, I don't think right now consumers are looking for that easy, quick, accessible. I don't think that's driving usage, but more consumers are trading off easy for empowering. So I want a shortcut, but I still want to be a part of the process because I have time to be a part of the process. So thinking like protein waffle mixes. And because a lot of us have gained more time, maybe quick isn't as exciting as engaging is. Can I, like Corbin said, I can use my RTM in a variety of places, not just in a shake that I take on the go. So it gives you a little bit more space to sort of, products that do give you a little bit more space to customize, I think are doing quite well. And then instead of a product being, where you are right when you need it, I think it's more about having that flexibility, filling in those gaps around usage and being functional to your new life. So although this wasn't created for sports nutrition, I think that this is a great way to start thinking about, how you could potentially develop products with these things in mind, the experience in mind. My next point, my number 2, is around the acceleration of what becomes the online personality. So this was already happening pre-pandemic, and we looked at this pre-pandemic. So consumers were not only engaging online, but they were coming in through multiple entry points to get at that sort of brand online personality. In the US, we found that, in fact, influencers are actually very influential for people who are looking at things online. But I think overall brand personality is something that should be looked at, and we did a bit of looking into this. So these next visuals that you're going to see here are for what I would call pretty similar sports nutrition brands. They obviously offer a wide variety of products, but they're more focused on performance than they were on lifestyle. And what I'm deeming personality here is just, if I looked at the general grouping of terms, what did they kind of jump out at me? But what I found that, like, what people are saying about these products online, the things that they're being associated with, they can vary quite a bit from, an activity focus and motivation, or is it more of an emotional connection to the product, or maybe it's just about the products and people have a really strong, connection to that. I mean, I think the point really here that I'm making is that online personality has become a much larger aspect in consumer interactions. So making sure that your brand's personality aligns to the consumer that you're trying to target became a much bigger thing in a much faster amount of time. And it was kind of difficult to decide on my third topic because I do think there is a huge opportunity to appeal to the more mental and cognitive aspect of active consumers. Especially now, we're at a time when so many people are looking into home exercise as a stress management tool. But I decided to go with e-athletes for a few reasons. Let me see. There we go. Too quick. Let's see. Oh, sorry, guys. This is my... There we go. So I went with e-athletes for 3 reasons. Number 1, the industry is pandemic proof. Obviously, esports events suffered, but if you think about the awareness that physical athletes brought to esports in the early days, I think it's made a real impact. Number two, this group includes a lot more people than young teenage boys alone in their room, which I think is the stereotype. It's changing, but I think that's what a lot of people think. Looking at the demographics of the age ranges here, it's quite spread out. And I think that another thing that has sort of surprised me is the gender identification within this sort of niche product area is pretty evenly split. And they're not alone in their rooms anymore. You know, the major thing that I'm sort of learning about this area is the connectivity aspect of gaming that is today. 65% of people who play games say that they're playing with others, either competing online with friends, or they might be playing with someone else in their house. And that kind of leads me to the last aspect on why I went with this, is that I think more quickly than we realize, the competitive and performance aspect of this is going to grow, and it's going to grow even beyond sort of the big tent esport events of today. And I expect that, like a lot of non-professional athletes, high school kids, college kids, people who are just doing this as a hobby, the everyday gamer is going to probably start looking to beat the person that's on the other side of the game. And so there will be a performance aspect associated to energy, focus, and eye health. And the ingredients that are associated with those things are pretty standard. People are aware of their effects. Look, to wrap up, I really think that gaming is evolving extremely quickly, and I'll go out on a limb and make a prediction that e-athletes will very quickly be looking at the more physical aspect to gaming. Virtual reality is going to get some gamers off their couches, and that sort of marriage of the physical and the cognitive together, I think, is not only going to be powerful in the physical aspect space, but the e-gamer space as well.